Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. Had a block of elm that was laying around my shop. It came from another club member, so I decided it was time to turn it. It was a very thick block, so I decided maybe the best thing is to make a lidded bowl with the block, turn it in pieces. It's essentially then the equivalent of two bowls, the base and the lid, but well, also a little finial too. Meanwhile, however, the time is rapidly approaching for the Christmas Ornament Challenge. November is the submission period. Remember to plan and get yours in. No video required this year, so it's open to everybody, any crafts, and all ornaments. But for now, let's make this nice elm cross-grain lidded box.
I've prepared this block of elm by drilling a 1/4-inch hole to receive the screw chuck and cutting a rough round on the bandsaw. As I inspected the cut wood, I'm concerned about some checks on one side that run across the grain. I don't know whether they are from drying or from wind shakes. Regardless, I'll keep track of them to see if this can yield a nice bowl. The wood seems dry despite the size of the block. Whoever harvested the elm painted the end grain with latex paint. That may have helped somewhat, but it is not my preferred green wood treatment. Easy does it mounting the wood. The lathe is very slow and I let it go very quickly. Then I tightened it on the screw chuck and brought up the tailstock for support. I would not trust this heavy wood solely to the screw chuck. Of course, I have to cut my tenon. As I finish this section, I'm marking and evaluating the checks again. This will be a lidded bowl. I hesitate to do too much rounding over before determining where the lid will fall. This is bigger than my parting tool, but I fear cutting it on the bandsaw. My thoughts dwell on this while I'm turning, but first I need a tenon on the lid portion. In the end, I decide to go as deep as I can with the parting tool, then bandsaw the remainder. But after I went as deep as I could, I managed to break out the remaining cylinder. So, no trip to the saw, no risk. With the base section still mounted, I'm hollowing this now with my large bowl gouge. Some may say to always cut from the outside to the middle as if each cut is the last cut. Well, I don't think so. Instead, I like to hog out as much as I can, as quickly as I can. Then for the last bit, I can take lighter cuts and blend the surface. Almost the last task is to form the lip on the lid interface. I had to stop and apply CA glue to the checks. Now, after mounting the lid section, the next task is to mate the lid to the base. I don't want a suction fit. This is a large cross-grain section. That would never do. Instead, I want a loose fit for the lid over the base section. Before I can do much hollowing, I need to define more of the top surface. Unfortunately, this is between the headstock and the work, opposite my end camera. You'll have to watch the top camera. I'm working to form an ogee shape starting with a large bead from the middle to the outside. Then cut a cove in the outer portion of the bead and blend the surfaces. Then I can return to hollowing. But before going too far, I need to mark and cut an expansion mortise so I can reverse mount the top. Yes, I could use the coal jaws, but as long as I can do it with a shallow mortise that is easily hidden, I'll do it this way. Now I'm reversing the lid for fine-tuning the upper surface. The hole in the middle is from the screw chuck. I'll use it for a knob for the lid. I found out later I need to expand it. Now for the knob, I've mounted a piece of scrap walnut for a simple knob. After rough rounding, I cut down the end to 1/4 inch for the tenon, then reversed it into my long-nosed jaws. But the tiny tenon could not take the pressure. Well, I have more length, so I try again. After cutting a tenon, I try again. Again, it breaks off. The walnut is just not strong enough. Finally, with a little bit left, I went for a 3/8 inch tenon. This tenon is strong enough to survive, but I'll have to drill out the top hole to fit. Now on the coal jaws to finish the bottom. I've measured the thickness and have more than enough for a good foot. I do have to slow down while using the coal jaws, but they produce a nice fan effect. Then sand the bottom with my wood burner before sanding it just a little more with fine grit to remove the scorching. Finally, I'm wiping a soaking cut of walnut oil, reapplying oil to any dry spots. It brightens up nicely. This elm bowl has turned out very nice. I like the matte finish from the walnut oil, so I will not buff it. Some bowls cry out for a lid. A lidded bowl is like 3 projects in one: bottom bowl, top bowl, and miniature finial. This bowl was fun and not difficult to turn. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, tell your friends, and send me your comments and questions. Every week I make a new wood turning video. Please wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough protection. Until next week's video, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns.